Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. In this one, I'd like to take a look at the many Magnezones of GLC. Now, before we get going, I have a very bad habit of pronouncing this as Magnezone for some reason. So, yeah, just in case I do that in the future in this video, then, yeah, this is me apologizing in advance, basically. But yeah, thanks for the suggestion, by the way, whoever suggested Magneton. Yeah, it sadly has to be Magnezone in the video, but Magneton is a very cool Pokemon. But yeah, what is GLC for those of you who don't know? It's a single prize only, no Robux format. It is singleton except for basic energy, and you're only allowed one type per deck. Now, Magnezone actually has two types in GLC, which is really cool. It has metal and lightning. I will say lightning is slightly more favored for Magnezone just because the energy ramp is really good. But honestly, the metal types that we do have for Magnezone are also very, very, very good. So, just something to bear in mind. So you've got plenty of choices for Magnemites. I would say the art rare for the Lightning one is probably the best as well. Pretty cool. As for metal types, Solid Unit is a great ability, but also Searching Magnet plus being a shiny is also really cool. So yeah, that's nice. As for the Magnetons themselves, which was the original request anyway, you've got plenty of good choice. I think Call Signal is honestly my favorite in terms of flavor. But Junk Magnet is also pretty good just for retrieving items. You can also find it with Level Ball, which is cool. And then the most recent Magneton from Surgen Sparks has a very, very powerful ability. But, just in case you don't want to use abilities, maybe you're playing like greens in your deck or something, then yeah, Junk Magnet and the Zap Cannon one can also be pretty cool. So yeah, the first Magnezones we can take a look at here are from the set Plasma Storm. The one on the left is pretty irredeemable in a video that I know is already going to be quite long, so we don't have to waste any time talking about that one. But the one on the right has the Team Plasma badge, which is really cool. Has the ability Dual Brains, says during a turn you may play 2 supporter cards, and if you time this right, it can be devastating. You can play this with, something like an Eri, is it Eri? And then like a Xerasik, for example. You could use some crazy Team Rocket's Handiwork shenanigans. You can do some very scary thing with this Magnezone. So it's honestly really cool that one of the first Magnezones printed, at least for Expanded and GLC, is, actually a really, really good one and very playable. So that's cool. The attack is like whatever, but you're, of course, here for the ability. So yeah, very playable, very cool. Then we have a one from Breakthrough, which is sadly just a direct downgrade to a Magnezone. I did it again. Magnezone that is later on in this video, so that's a bit of a shame. However, this one is probably cheaper. Don't quote me on that one, but this one is probably cheaper just because it has slightly worse stats overall. So if you don't mind playing a slightly inferior card, then it's fine. But it still has the same amazing ability, which allows you to attach a Lightning Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon as often as you like during a turn, which is very, very powerful. But yeah, the next one is Sun and Moon Ultra Prism. This is a metal one with the ability Magnetic Circuit. It's the exact same thing, except this time for metal types. It's probably the best way to accelerate metal energy in GLC, I'd imagine. It just out-trumps the Matang, thankfully, which is really funny. But yeah, sorry, Matang Fangs. But yeah, Magnezone, honestly, just a very, very powerful card. Gets a lot of good cards for GLC, actually. But yeah, this ability, just very, very strong for metal types. Then we have a case of Deja Vu, actually. It's the exact same card, but just printed as a lightning type for Forbidden Light. So this is the one I was referring to when I said outclassed. This one is just, I would say, a better card. There is one extremely niche advantage to the previous one, in that this one has a retreat cost of 3. So you can use a heavy ball to search your deck for a Pokemon with 3 retreat cost. So, you can use, this Magnezone with Heavy Ball in your list if you really want to be optimal. But yeah, I would just say this one is probably better overall. But yeah, it has a very cool ability, Magnetic Circuit, of course. So yeah, definitely the best Magnezone, I would say, for GLC. But yeah, very, very powerful. I guess it depends on what you're building as well. But, still very, very strong. Then we have, honestly, a really cool one. Has the ability Double Type, which basically just allows it to dual type as a Lightning and a Metal type. Also has 160 HP to boot, so that's pretty cool. And the attack Magnetic Bolt, which does 120 damage, and you get to put a trainer card from your discard pile into your hand, which is actually quite nice. So, you can retrieve a supporter, which is cool, or like a stadium, a tool card, things that can be quite annoying to retrieve in GLC. So that's really nice. And also just the ability is pretty cool. You know, being able to hit the two different types of weakness in a monotype singleton format is really helpful. So honestly, I think this Magnezone is a bit underrated, at least in terms of card design wise. You know, it's cool. Next up, though, is we have a really fun one from Astro Radiance. Definitely inferior to the previous metal one. However, the art rare for this one is absolutely stunning from Crown Zenith. So, you know, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted to play this one. But yeah, it is sadly a weaker card. But, you know, the artwork is phenomenal on all three cards, really. So yeah, it's a cool card, just not as good, really. Then we have a one from Obsidian Flames, not the worst thing ever, has 170 HP, which is the most so far. Magnetic Repulsion does 50, and you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench, so that can be quite useful sometimes for disruption, but of course not very reliable. And then Thunder does 180, which is a lot, but you kind of don't want to be doing this amount of damage on a stage 2, really, especially not for 3 energy. So unless you're playing like double colorless and twin energy in your deck, then I wouldn't recommend, you know, this Magnezone as a card, really. I think there's definitely better choices, and we already looked at a one that takes a double colorless that's honestly really good. So yeah, a bit of a shame here, but I don't think this one's as good as some of the other ones, but you know, still pretty playable. Then we have the most recent one actually from Surgen Sparks. Has two pretty okay attacks. I would say Zap Cannon's actually a bit weaker, but Mighty Magnetism for a lightning double colorless does 80. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused, and during your opponent's next turn, that Pokemon can't retreat. So actually a bit of a control theme going on with Magnezones, which is cool. But yeah, honestly, a really annoying attack just traps a Pokemon, and then your opponent has to like sift through their deck and hunt down a switch or an escape rope if they want to save that Pokemon from being knocked out by your next attack. So honestly, really cool on that frontier. So definitely like this attack. And then Zap Cannon's a bit weaker. So honestly, a bit of a toss up between which one of these two is actually better. But this one also has the retreat cost of 3, so you can use Heavy Ball again. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, thank you for watching. I do a new set review for GLC with each new release, so do subscribe if you're interested. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to bother and do one for Prismatic Evolutions. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 new cards for GLC. It is a brutal set in terms of like just new things that are flavorsome. So yeah, in a nutshell, it's grass types. Like Budew and Lily couldn't get the most out of that set, but yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But this is now a series to stay, so do let me know which Pokemon you'd like to see in the future. There is a list, but getting through them, and a playlist has been made. And I say this in every video because people always suggest ideas, and, you know, I cover them, basically. So yeah, if you want to dive into the competitive side, Omnipoke and the format creator Tricky Jim, by the way, have both done fantastic videos and guides for each type. But yeah, it's been our power. Let me know what you think down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.